So Velma season 1.5, or season 2 of the second half of the show, debuted this past week. And to say fans that despised it in the first place and critics that despised it in the first place were not happy to see it return would be an understatement. Because the scores it got for the previous half, were bad. But the scores it got for this second half, according to Rotten Tomatoes and IDMB, were even worse. So yeah, to say it made its return in a way that fans were not hoping for, yeah, that would be underestimating these fans. Because you even have fans that didn't see the first half that went and saw the second half and started to see exactly why fans were not thrilled with Velma as a show. They weren't. And honestly, I don't blame them. I don't blame them for feeling that way because of the fact that basically Velma, when you get down to it, is nothing more than a show that's a self-absorbed, self-inserted show for Mindy Kaling, whatever her name is, who voices Velma, to basically get her point across about what she likes or dislikes politically or non-politically. And it's like, you see that and you're like, well, you could have done this if you just came up with your own YouTube show or your own rumble.com show to host, and there, in front of the world, on social media itself, you could vent your frustration. You could say what you like or don't like politically or non-politically, but Mindy didn't do that. She decided to take a beloved franchise and one of the more beloved characters in Velma, who is trying to be redeemed in the eyes of a lot of fans, and basically turn them into the most self-centered, hated character and representation of a franchise, probably in the history of the modern animation, if not all of animation history, as far as Scooby-Doo or any franchise goes. And fans were not thrilled with that. They were not. They were not thrilled with that happening. I mean, there are some good ideas in that show. Velma and Daphne being a lesbian couple, fine, that's cool. You can go with that. You can go with that in any kind of adult Scooby-Doo premise. That's fine. People will accept that. We're in that day and age. But still, it's like the way it was done. You didn't know whether or not they were gonna, break up, stay together, be on and off. It's like it was confusing, and that's what drove people nuts, with stuff like that. And then the representation of the characters, the Mystery Inc. gang, period, is what pissed them off. And people say that the only thing they improved on in the second half was Fred, but very slightly. Everyone else just seemed to be downgraded even more, or slightly improved by a percentage of 1%. And it's like, okay, fine, great, but still, this show is not Scooby-Doo, because mostly it does not have Scooby-Doo in it. It does not have Scooby-Doo in it. The closest we got is a villain, a science villain, masked and everything, being called Uncle Scooby by a science experimented on Scrappy-Doo, who's nothing more than a cyborg killing machine that basically, spoiler here, kills Velma and causes her to become a ghost, after she possesses him to destroy him. And it's like, and they end the show on a cliffhanger of whether or not Velma will be revived on Halloween, thus setting up the idea of doing a Halloween conclusion or a third season based around that. And it's like, a lot of folks are like, no, don't do that. Just take it and basically go to something like this, put it in, and shut it and leave it there. That's how fans want it to be done. They want to forget it ever happened, forget it ever existed, because again, to them, it's nothing more than Mindy K's own Mindy's basically self-absorbed, self-inserted show to voice her views on things. That's all it is in the eyes of a lot of fans. I mean, the premise and idea to do an adult Scooby-Doo show, that's great. That's a great idea and premise to run with. I mean, Netflix obviously saw that, hate watch or not, they saw that, hey, there is potential, for an adult Scooby-Doo show, maybe in live action form. So they got somebody that has a decent reputation behind it, along with people that have a mixed reputation behind it when it comes to films and shows, potentially getting ready to, present a script to WBD, maybe Netflix by extension, to get a greenlit for a pilot at least, to give us an idea of, what the show's going to be, what the show could potentially be like, and go from there. But again, the idea to do a live action not just a live action, but a animated live action adult, Scooby-Doo show, live action or animated, I should say, an adult Scooby-Doo show is great. It's a great idea. Don't get me wrong. Excuse me. Don't get me wrong in that. Don't get me wrong there. It's a great idea. It is a great idea. But the point I'm getting at is it has to be done right. You want to make Velma and Daphne a lesbian couple? Fine, cool, no problem. Has to be done right. You want Mystery Inc. to go out and solve gruesome mysteries, very brutal murders and all that? Fine, no problem. Make sure it's done right. And also make sure the characters, whether you race swap them or you don't, make sure that they represent who they are personality-wise. Don't switch them up because you feel they should be this way or that way. Try to make them basically who they're meant to be. Even if you race swap them or not. Try to make them who they're meant to be. Make Fred someone that likes to solve mysteries and traps. Make Velma someone that likes to solve mysteries and try to, explain, the unknown and everything, and try to, solve, the idea of, oh, this is not a real ghost, it's fake and all that. Keep them as they are. Even if you want to change the gender, the races, keep them as they are. Don't change them to be something that they're not. Don't change them to be something that they're not, because if you do, you could potentially hurt the show. And that's what Velma did. That's what Mindy did with the Velma show. She hurt it by basically doing all these things and basically making it about herself, voicing Velma, and basically inserting herself in that role to essentially say, hey, this is how I feel about certain things and everything. This is how I truly feel, and that's it. I guarantee you, I can't say I guarantee, but I have a feeling that if WBD and Max would have first found out the idea, the premise, of what Velma was going to be, I almost feel that they may have not greenlit it if they would have known the truth about what Velma was or was going to be. I bet you anything they probably would have had some people say, yeah, well, let's not do this. This sounds like more like a Mindy K situation, to where she just wants to use our platform to voice her opinions and everything by using a established franchise. Let's not do that. But they didn't. They didn't take the opportunity to do that. I have a feeling some may have. I have a feeling they may have if they'd known the truth, but they didn't. They didn't take advantage of that, period. Whatsoever. They didn't take advantage of that whatsoever to find out what the show was going to truly be about until it was too late. So yeah, the idea to do an adult Scooby-Doo show and everything, again, great idea if done right. A great idea. Don't get me wrong, great idea. But you gotta make sure it stays true to what the show is, and most importantly, you gotta make sure it includes the show that, not the show, but it includes the character the show is named after. That's what you need to do. But again, now WBD and Max obviously and David Zaslav obviously are now seeing that, oh shit, we made a major mistake here, and now it's bit us in the ass. Because that's exactly what it did. It bit them in the ass, and now they basically got to deal with the repercussions, that are heading their way. And if they greenlit or have greenlit a Halloween conclusion or a third season of some kind, that is going to be the most lowest rated, most lowest viewed show or season they've ever had on that service. I guarantee it. But yeah, again, the premise to do a Scooby-Doo adult show, animated or live action, is a great idea. The potential to do more than what you could do in a family-friendly environment is great. The closest we got, believe it or not, was Mystery Incorporated. And that was family-friendly, meant for kids-like show, but it showed us that the more darker, mature themes for Scooby-Doo can work. They can work, and they can basically, get you talking, grab your attention, and make you wonder what's going to happen next. That's what Mystery Incorporated did. And if somebody could take that premise and turn it into an adult Scooby-Doo show, then they will have gold on their hands, because they can do a lot more with, you know, what was given in Mystery Incorporated in an adult setting than they could have ever done with with the show when it first came out. You know, you get what I'm saying? They could do a lot more. And Mystery Incorporated, to me, was the best example of that. And again, that was a family-friendly, meant for kids show, but it had dark, mature, you know, tones, teen drama and everything. So that show and its, you know, run, you know, showcase, it can be done correctly. And if you put that an adult premise on that, you made it. I'm trying to find the right word to say. You make it for a TV 14 MA rated audience, then the path, your path to greatness, your path to success, you know, with something like that is unlimited. It is. But they have to follow a formula like that and not follow a formula like Velma. Because what Velma did is just prove that if you allow a celebrity, you know, to basically, you know, take charge of the show, insert themselves as the voice of the central pivot character of the show, you know, all it's going to show is that they're just using that show, your money, and your platform to voice their opinions on what they like and dislike from a political or non-political standpoint. And that's it. But that's just my take on it, guys. Give me your thoughts overall. Let me know what your thoughts are on Velma. And until then, I am out.